All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to FFT Express. Let's get those lineups set for Week 7. Good morning. Good Sunday morning to you. Remember, if you have any questions, join us at 9 a.m. Eastern, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern on youtube.com/fantasyfootball today, and also noon to 1 Eastern at that same URL, and we'll be answering your start-sit questions basically the entire time. I'm Adam Azer with Heath Cummings. Let's do it. Russell Wilson is in line to start tonight against the Jets. Your thoughts?
I am more optimistic about George Pickens. I am more optimistic about Pat Freiermuth. I am not super excited about starting Russell Wilson in any format. This is a terrible, tough spot. I would not be dropping Justin Fields if I was you. Let's see if Russ gets through this game first.
Okay, if I were you, is that me or
yes?
Okay, fair enough. So Mason Rudolph is set to start, and we've got an injury on. It could be a couple weeks here. So and they want to get Calvin Ridley involved. Does this give you should we go pick up Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins?
I don't think that Calvin Ridley should be on the waiver wire. So yeah, if for some reason he got dropped, I'm not sure what his start percentage is. Or his roster percentage. I assume it's still really, really high. But if Calvin Ridley is somehow available in your league, I would pick him up. He's rostered in 73% of leagues, and just see. I don't have a lot of hope in DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, and Tua could play next week, which is great news. Rhamondre Stevenson, let's talk about the London game. Rhamondre Stevenson is going to play, and Travis Etienne is not. So how do you break down the running backs in Jacksonville versus New England?
Nobody's a must start, despite the fact that I'm not sure either one of these defenses are any good. I'm sure somebody's going to be great. I would rank them Rhamondre, followed by Tank, followed by D'Ernest, followed by Antonio Gibson. And Rhamondre's right around RB 24. Tank's just a couple spots behind that. And the D'Ernest and Gibson are more like your desperate plays.
Would you start Rhamondre Stevenson or a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster?
I think in full PPR, I'd go Juju, and everything else, I'd go Rhamondre.
All right. Ken Walker is questionable with an illness. Really not much to say here. You just wait for the inactives, and let's see, that game is at 1:00, so you'll know what to do. If he plays, you play him. If not, Charbonnet. Aaron Jones is expected to play. Where do you have him ranked against the Lions?
A little bit higher than I do Rhamondre Stevenson. Optimistic about what Jones could potentially do in the passing game. He is a mid-range RB2.
Okay. And someone's asking Stevenson or Trey Sermon. We're definitely going Stevenson, right?
I would go Stevenson over Trey Sermon, but they're not that far apart.
Okay. And I just have concerns that Goodson's going to get more work than Sermon, who's been really bad. But it's such an enticing matchup, so I get it. And Jonathan Taylor is out. Nick Chubb is in, however, against the Bengals. Starter sit Nick Chubb.
I'm expecting him. This is a real complete mystery. And Robert Turbin did say, he said, a lot of people you've got to ease back in. You don't have to ease Nick Chubb back in. So he's expecting a great day from Chubb today. I'm a little bit more cautious. He's one spot behind Stevenson. I would prefer to start Aaron Jones. I would start Chubb over Charbonnet, or not Charbonnet. I would start Chubb over Sermon. I would start him over Bigsby.
Okay, and we're pretty much done with the running back news, except Brian Robinson Jr. is expected to play against Carolina. Is this a must-start situation?
It's the closest thing we've talked to yet to a must-start situation. I've got him one spot ahead of Aaron Jones. I mean, there were a couple of guys earlier in the week that we weren't sure if they were playing, and it's just like my running back 2 rankings are all of those guys. Jordan Mason, then James Cook, then Brian Robinson, then Aaron Jones. And then Stevenson and Chubb are behind those guys.
So Mason off the injury report. So he's going to play against the Chiefs, and you don't have him as high as you usually do then?
He's not a top 12 running back, but he's very, very close.
Worried about the shoulder or in the matchup?
It's a terrible matchup.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about the shoulder, just seeing him come back in and then leave last week. All right, we got a lot of wide receiver news for you here. We'll talk about the Colts passing game and Cooper Kupp and more when we come back on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, so let's finish up here. Everyone in the Colts passing game is playing. Anthony Richardson is starting. Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, they're all playing. They're facing the Dolphins, who have actually been really good against the pass, but no Javon Holland. Who are you starting in the passing game for the Colts?
Richardson is a borderline top 12 quarterback. So probably maybe the most interesting of the group. I would start him ahead of Kyler Murray. I would start him ahead of Aaron Rodgers and Geno Smith and Trevor Lawrence. I'd start him ahead of Kirk Cousins, but I'm not as excited about Kirk Cousins as Dave and Jamie are. As for the pass catchers, Josh Downs is my favorite. He's a borderline number 2 in full PPR, right around wide receiver 24. I'm a little bit more skeptical of Michael Pittman. I don't want to start Alec Pierce.
Okay, Mike Evans is going to play, so start your Bucks. Cooper Kupp is unlikely to play, but he hasn't been ruled out yet. But Jordan Whittington is expected to play. So you got Whittington and Atwell, who have been double-digit PPR fantasy points. For Atwell, 3 games in a row. For Whittington, 2 games in a row. If you're in a pinch, Cooper Kupp unlikely to play, so you can go to those guys. Marvin Harrison Jr., this is the big news. Marvin Harrison Jr. has cleared the concussion protocol. He's going to play Monday night against Las Vegas. Start Kyler, start Marvin. What do you think?
I've got Kyler 1 spot behind Richardson. I think he's QB 13 for me, which I believe is the highest. Dave and Jamie are pretty much out on him this week. So I feel fine about starting Kyler. I would start him again over Cousins, over Rodgers, over Lawrence. Harrison is a number 2 wide receiver. You're probably starting him.
Juju's expected to play, and Deontay Johnson is expected to play. Is Deontay a number 1 wide receiver?
I do have Deontay just barely inside of my top 12, and Juju is closer to 24.
All right, some questions here. Kyler Murray or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold is a top 5 quarterback for me. I'll take Sam Darnold.
Kyler Murray or Geno Smith?
I've got Kyler 1 spot ahead, but they're close enough to flip a coin if you want to.
Drake May or Jared Goff?
I'm going with Jared Goff.
Okay. Tucker Kraft or David Njoku? PPR.
Wow. This one is, again, you guys are just like, ask me back-to-back guys in my rankings over and over. Currently, I have Tucker Kraft 1 spot ahead of Njoku.
Pick 2 in PPR. Devontae Adams, Devon Achane, Kareem Hunt.
I would sit Kareem Hunt.
I am Steve says, was there a Ken Walker update? He's got an illness. He plays at 1 o'clock. You know what to do if he's active. You know what to do if he's inactive. Waddle or Ridley in the flex?
I'll go with Waddle.
Sit 1 in PPR. Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Debo Samuel, David Montgomery.
I would sit Debo.
Juju, Laporta, or Irving?
Give me Juju. I
PPR.
I have no idea what to think of the Tampa Bay running backs. Literally expecting all 3 of them to get a series in the first half. Yeah. And I mean, you just desperation flexes.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, and it's a horrible matchup too. Kyler or Russell Wilson?
Kyler.
Liggett or Mostert? PPR.
Mostert.
Bigsby, Mooney, or Mason? Half PPR.
I'm going with Jordan Mason there.
Bigsby, Mooney, Mason. Okay. Evans or Juju?
These guys that have come off the injury report, I'm assuming they're fine, and they're not even questionable. I'm starting Mike Evans.
Tank Bigsby or Brandon Ayuk? Tank Dell, let's say.
I would go Ayuk, then Dell, then Bigsby.
Okay, yeah. It just says Tank. There's 2 tanks, Justin. You got to help us out. That's it for Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, get those lineups set, and we'll see you at 9 a.m. Eastern. If you missed that show, we'll see you at noon Eastern, youtube.com/fantasyfootballtoday. Good luck, everybody.